Now you automatically think, how can I
liberate them? I value
How
people,
can I take them out of bondage because I want to help them?
It's advocacy. So many people don't understand that word. When they think of the word advocacy, they think they have to fight. Advocacy is not a fight.
Yeah, I struggle with power
Advocacy
struggling.
is a place of influence. At least that's how I see it. And in my relationships, even when someone's power struggling with me, I come at it from a place of influence instead of a place of fighting for what I think is right. A lot of people think advocacy means you fight for what's right.
Well, explain a place of influence. You come at it from a place of influence.
Yeah, so a place of influence for me, that's where I'm at. Okay, so I'm at this place where I realize I feel what the truth is. I know the truth you want. I want to help influence you so that you can feel that same truth. And really it's coming to love. You know, like recognizing my love for them helps them also recognize that somebody greater than me loves them too. And that they don't have to act that way. They don't have to send their emotional throw up all over everybody.
You're trying to become more like Heavenly Father. And so you're thinking, oh, what would he do in this situation?
And that's true. If you think of God, that's how he works with us. He influences us, doesn't he? He doesn't always beat us on the head. Those are very rare moments when we get those times. He influences us. He finds a way to open our heart by sharing with us the truth. Now with children, part of the opening the heart process is also correcting the problem. So you have to do both at the same time.
You always say when you correct them, you have to be able, your correction needs to be, they should never be feeling bad, it should be
a connection.
Yeah, it's a time to connect. Together. And I think that's the hardest thing, is how do you have a connection, which is kind of all the same that we've been talking about.
It is. That's how you have that connection when you correct them. Is you come from that place of influence. You think of yourself as their advocate to God. If you're their parent, God gave them to you. That means that you're supposed to advocate for their happiness and for them. That means that in that moment when they are clearly struggling, you have to think of yourself as the person to help them become free. You're the instrument for God that day. That's how I look at it anyway.
So then you have to know what God wants because you're his influence, or you're his instrument.
Wow, say that again and say it louder.
So you have to know what God wants because you have to be their instrument.
Yeah.
And their influence. And unless you know what God wants for them.
Yeah, so then we get into a theological discussion, right? Okay.
For those that are not.
So, obviously you are religious.
Right.
And I am religious.
Right.
And there are many, many religious people in this world who understand and have tried their whole lives to understand what God wants for his people, what he wants them to do, the greatness that he thinks that they have. And any religion is usually looking for that. So I think you're right, yeah. Finding out, like through history of the whole world, people have always tried to figure out what is it that God wants us to do.
Or what is the meaning of life? Why are we here? What's the purpose?
Yeah. And so then if you look at your child and say, what's the purpose of their life right now? Well, they're a child. They're supposed to learn. That's their purpose.
Which goes back to roles, right?
Yes, exactly.
The roles.
Yes, that's right. That's a whole other conversation, right? When we talk about the roles of each family member. If there's one thing that's getting messed up nowadays in the world, it's roles. People are not understanding what their roles are, what somebody else's role is, and they don't understand God's role in the world. Because if you can't even get your own role, you lose track, or your parents' role, you lose track of what God's role is in all of it, because soon roles are meaningless. In fact, for years in the world, people have been trying to eliminate roles.
Right.
Make everybody somehow the same, which is impossible. In their effort to make people the same, what they end up doing is they end up creating some new role that is like not even the way God designed it at all, you know, and end up confusing people even more. So in the end, you can't ever get rid of roles.
Like the giver and sameness.
Yeah, you can't. So yeah. Anyway, that's what I do, and I don't. That's probably the hardest part of anything I teach, because I mean, people need to know the language, you know, how to teach their children to govern themselves. They need to know how to correct their problems properly. They need to know the skills to teach their children. But the biggest thing they need is to have a change of heart right in the minute, and to know that they're on somebody else's errand and they're advocating for both parties at that minute. If you think of yourself as a bridge connecting your child to God, that's like a whole different experience, isn't it? When they are having a hard time. At that point, you can only be helpful, even when you're teaching cause and effect, and they may earn an extra chore, and you may have to talk about what went wrong. That is the moment of true advocacy. I don't think a person can be an advocate for a child by just giving them everything they want. That's spoiling.
Right.
It's not advocacy. And when a child is out of control, it's still spoiling. The only way to be an advocate is to correct it and to connect them to you and to a source of greater good.
So that's how you become that bridge, is by connecting through your corrections.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Which is the hardest part.
Yes. Absolutely. But you can work on it, you know, bit by bit. I mean, that's all I ever do, and I'm still not perfect at it, because there's always going to be some new experience that you never had before.
Right.
So, anyway, awesome, thanks.
Thank you.